Ryland Nash stared at the coffee stain spreading across his quantum calculations, wondering if this was the universe's way of telling him to take a break. The laboratory's harsh lights reflected off the metallic surfaces, making his eyes ache after another 18-hour shift. His breakthrough in quantum entanglement was close. He could feel it, but now his equations were drowning in Colombian dark roast. The cleaning service would arrive in 10 minutes. He'd specifically requested their premium package, which included their new extraterrestrial staff offering superior cleaning capabilities. At first, he thought it was a marketing gimmick, but the testimonials were impressive, and his lab required special care with its sensitive equipment. The door chimed, and Ryland looked up to see the most striking being he'd ever encountered. Her skin seemed to shift colors like the aurora borealis, settling into a gentle lavender hue. Her hair appeared to float as if suspended in water, containing what looked like tiny stars. But it was her eyes that caught him off guard. They were completely silver, with rings of light that pulsed gently. "Dr. Nash?" Her voice carried an otherworldly melody. "I'm Nix from Stellar Cleaning Services. I specialize in laboratory maintenance and quantum-sensitive environments." Ryland realized he was staring and quickly gathered his scattered papers. "Yes, right, thank you for coming. I'm sorry about the mess, especially the coffee." Incident. Nix approached the stained papers, her movements fluid and graceful. She removed what looked like a small crystal from her utility belt. "Temporal reversal for organic matter," she explained, holding it over the coffee stain. The liquid began to flow backward, lifting from the paper and reforming into perfect droplets that she collected in a small vial. "The equations are undamaged." "That's impossible," Ryland whispered, examining the now pristine papers. His scientific mind was already racing with questions about the physics behind what he'd just witnessed. "Impossible is relative, Dr. Nash," Nix replied, a slight smile playing at her luminescent lips. "Much like your work on quantum entanglement across galactic distances." He blinked in surprise. "You understand quantum physics? My people have been studying it for millennia, though your approach is—" She paused, studying his equations. "Uniquely human. You see connections others might miss." As Nix moved through the lab, her cleaning technique seemed to defy the laws of physics. Dust didn't just disappear. It decomposed into its base elements and redistributed itself harmlessly. Stubborn chemical residues were transformed into pure light. Each process fascinated Ryland more than the last. "Your cleaning methods," he began, unable to contain his curiosity. "They're based on manipulating matter at the quantum level, aren't they?" Nix's skin shifted to a deeper purple, which he would later learn indicated pleasure at intellectual recognition. "You're very perceptive, Dr. Nash. We believe cleaning isn't just about removing unwanted substances. It's about restoring harmony to the quantum field of a space." Their conversation flowed easily between practical physics and theoretical possibilities. Ryland found himself sharing his research challenges, and Nix offered insights that made him reconsider his basic assumptions. Hours passed unnoticed. "Your hypothesis about entanglement isn't wrong," she said, efficiently reorganizing his workstation. "But you're thinking in three-dimensional terms. The quantum bridge you're trying to build needs to account for temporal spatial folding." Ryland grabbed his tablet, quickly noting her suggestions. "That's why the connection keeps collapsing. The temporal displacement would naturally cause—" He trailed off, realizing something. "You know a lot more about quantum physics than most cleaning professionals." Nix's skin rippled with colors before settling back to lavender. "Let's say I have a diverse background." She glanced at her chronometer. "I should go. Your lab is restored to optimal efficiency." "Wait," Ryland called as she headed for the door. "Would you be willing to come back? Not just for cleaning." "Maybe we could discuss more about temporal spatial folding over coffee. I promise not to spill it this time." Nix paused, her star-filled hair swirling with increased activity. "That would be unconventional. Unconventional is where the best discoveries happen," Ryland offered. A small smile curved her luminescent lips. "Indeed. Very well, Dr. Nash. Next week, same time. But perhaps we should stick to tea. It's less quantum disruptive than coffee." As she left, Ryland looked around his immaculate lab, then at his equation. Something told him his research was about to take an unexpected turn. He didn't yet know about the galactic politics he'd stumbled into, or how his quantum research would soon become crucial to saving both their worlds. At that moment, all he knew was that cleaning day had suddenly become the most interesting day of his week. In the corridor, Nyx's hand touched the small device hidden beneath her cleaning uniform, the quantum core that contained her life's research. She hadn't planned on finding someone who might understand her work, let alone someone whose own research might hold the key to saving her people. Perhaps the universe had a sense of humor after all. Over the next few weeks, Ryland's lab became a sanctuary of quantum discussions and tentative connections. Each cleaning session turned into hours of theoretical physics debates with Nyx's cleaning tools, often demonstrating principles that Ryland had only dreamed of proving. But today was different. He could tell the moment she entered the lab. Nyx's usually luminescent skin seemed dimmer, her star-filled hair moving sluggishly. She began her cleaning routine without their usual greeting, her movements mechanical rather than flowing. "Is everything all right?" Ryland asked, setting aside his latest simulation results. "My species is empathic," Nyx said after a long pause, her voice carrying an unfamiliar strain. "Usually I can filter the emotional input from others, but today—" She gestured to her cleaning crystal, which was pulsing with an erratic rhythm. "Even the quantum harmonizers are affected." Ryland approached carefully, fascinated despite his concern. "You can sense emotions through quantum entanglement?" A small smile flickered across her face. "You always see the scientific angle first." "Yes, in a way. Emotions create distinct patterns in the quantum field. My people evolved to perceive and interpret these patterns." She turned to face him fully. "Your emotions, for instance, have a unique signature, like fractal mathematics set to music." Heat crept up Ryland's neck. "You can read my emotions." "Not read exactly. Feel them like ripples in water." Her skin shifted to a deep blue. "Lately they've become harder to ignore." The implications of that statement hung in the air between them. Ryland cleared his throat. "Because they're stronger, because they resonate," Nyx whispered. Her cleaning crystal suddenly flared bright, responding to the spike in emotional energy. "This is unprofessional. I should maintain boundaries." Like the boundaries of conventional physics, Ryland stepped closer. "Sometimes the most important discoveries come from crossing lines we've drawn for ourselves." Nyx's hair swirled faster, the tiny stars within it twinkling more intensely. "There are complications you don't understand. My presence here, it's not as simple as it appears. Then help me understand." Ryland gestured to his quantum equations displayed on the lab's holoscreen. "You've already revolutionized my research. Every suggestion you've made has proven correct. You know things about quantum physics that go far beyond cleaning theory." Ryland, his name from her lips sent visible waves of color across her skin. "I'm not just a cleaning professional. I'm—" The lab's security system suddenly blared to life. Red warning lights pulsed as unknown energy signatures were detected in orbit. Nyx's skin paled to an almost translucent state. "They found me," she breathed, her hand clutching the hidden device beneath her uniform. "I thought I had more time." "Who found you? What's going on?" Before she could answer, every piece of cleaning equipment in her kit activated simultaneously, responding to her spike of fear. The quantum harmonizers created a defensive field around them both, their gentle cleaning frequencies transforming into something more protective. "I'm sorry," Nyx said, her silver eyes meeting his. "I never meant to bring this to your door. But your research, it's similar to what I was working on before I had to flee. That's why I chose this placement, why I've been helping you. Your approach to quantum entanglement might be the key to saving my people." The orbital sensors screamed as multiple ships dropped out of what Ryland recognized as quantum space, a theoretical concept he'd only recently begun to explore. "Your people—" "I thought, I'm not a cleaning professional who understands quantum physics." Nyx interrupted, pulling out the device she'd kept hidden. It was a small quantum core, pulsing with incredibly complex calculations. "I'm a quantum physicist who became a cleaning professional to hide. And those ships belong to people who would very much like to stop my research from being completed." Ryland stared at the quantum core, his mind already processing the implications of the equations he could see swirling within it. They were beautiful, revolutionary, and if he was reading them correctly, incredibly dangerous in the wrong hands. Well, he said, moving to his computer terminal. I guess it's a good thing you found another quantum physicist. His fingers flew across the holographic interface, initiating his lab's security protocols. Though I have to admit, this isn't how I imagined our first date going. Despite the danger, Nix's skin rippled with colors that Rylan was beginning to recognize as amusement. You imagined our first date, among other things. He glanced at her cleaning kit, which was still humming with defensive energy. So, want to explain how your cleaning equipment can be converted into quantum shields while we figure out how to save your people? The enemy ships were entering the atmosphere now, their quantum signatures disrupting local electronic systems. But in that moment, as Nix's silver eyes met his with a mix of hope and determination, Rylan knew his life had irrevocably changed. He'd wanted to push the boundaries of quantum physics. He just hadn't expected those boundaries to include falling for a refugee alien scientist disguised as a cleaning professional. Ready to rewrite the laws of physics? Nix asked, her cleaning kit reconfiguring itself into what appeared to be a quantum laboratory. Rylan grinned. With you? Always. The lab had transformed into a fusion of Earth and alien technology. Nix's cleaning equipment, now revealing its true nature as advanced quantum research tools, interfaced seamlessly with Rylan's systems. Through the reinforced windows, they could see the hostile ships descending through the clouds, their quantum signatures distorting the very air around them. My people, the Etherian, discovered quantum manipulation centuries ago, Nix explained while her fingers danced across holographic equations. We believed it could be used to create sustainable energy, to heal worlds, to bridge the gaps between civilizations. But someone had other ideas, Rylan guessed, integrating his entanglement calculations with her quantum core's data. Nix's skin darkened to a deep indigo. The quantum directive. They saw the military applications first. Imagine weapons that could rewrite matter at its most fundamental level. Ships that could appear anywhere instantly through quantum tunneling. They wanted to turn our research into tools of conquest. A blast of energy struck the building, testing the hybrid shields they'd created from Nix's cleaning equipment. The protection held, but barely. Your cleaning kit, Rylan said, making adjustments to reinforce their defenses. It's actually portable quantum research equipment disguised as maintenance tools, isn't it? The perfect cover. Nix managed a small smile. Who looks twice at cleaning staff? The quantum directive never considered that I'd hide their most wanted scientist among service workers. Another blast rocked the lab. Through the quantum interference, a voice boomed. Dr. Nix Void, by authority of the quantum directive, surrender your research and prepare for extraction. They're using my real name, Nix whispered, her star-filled hair swirling agitatedly. They must be desperate if they're dropping the pretense of legality. Rylan moved closer to her, noticing how his proximity caused ripples of iridescent color across her skin. What exactly were you working on that has them so worried? Nix's silver eyes met his. Quantum harmonics at a cosmic scale. My research showed that consciousness itself creates quantum patterns, like the empathic abilities of my people. I believed we could use this to create a galaxy-wide quantum network, allowing instant communication and understanding between all species. A quantum internet of consciousness, Rylan breathed, understanding dawning. That's why your cleaning tools can respond to emotions. They're prototypes. The directives saw it differently. They realized it could also be used to control consciousness, to rewrite the quantum patterns of entire populations. Her hands trembled slightly. I couldn't let them have that power. So I ran, taking the core research with me. The enemy ships were positioning themselves around the building now. Their quantum signatures were interfering with local electronics, causing lights to flicker and computers to glitch. But Rylan's lab, protected by their hybrid defense system, remained a bubble of stability. Your research and mine, Rylan said, examining where their equations overlapped on the holographic display. They're complementary. My work on stable quantum entanglement bridges could be the key to implementing your consciousness network safely without the risk of it being weaponized. A particularly violent blast shook the lab. Warning indicators flashed as their shields began to strain. It doesn't matter now, Nix said bitterly. They'll never give us time to complete the research. Rylan grabbed her hand. causing a cascade of colors to flow across her skin. Who said anything about completing the research? We just need to prove it's possible and show the galaxy what the directive really wants to do with it. He pulled up communication protocols on his system. My quantum lab might be isolated, but it's still connected to every major scientific institution on Earth. One broadcast showing your data and the directive ships attacking a peaceful Earth facility. Earth's scientific community would verify the research independently. Nix continued, catching on, and with multiple copies of the data analyzed openly. The directive couldn't suppress it. They'd have to back off or reveal themselves to every advanced civilization. Hope flickered in Nix's silver eyes, but uncertainty followed. It would change everything. Earth would know about advanced quantum technology, about the directive, about my people. Earth was going to learn about the wider galaxy eventually, Rylan said. At least this way we do it on our terms. He squeezed her hand. Unless you don't trust humans with the knowledge. Nix's free hand came up to touch his face, sending tingles of quantum energy across his skin. I trust you. Your emotions have never lied to me, even before you knew I could feel them. Around them, the lab's equipment hummed with increasing power as their combined quantum calculations began to take shape. Outside, the directive ships charged their weapons for another assault. Their time was running out. Ready to change the galaxy? Rylan asked, his hand hovering over the broadcast initiation. Nix's skin shimmered with determination, her star-filled hair flowing like a cosmic river. With you, I'm ready for anything. As the directive ships opened fire, Rylan hit the broadcast switch. Their research, their story, and their proof of the directive's true intentions began streaming to every quantum physics lab on Earth. What happened next would either save both their worlds or tear them apart, but at least they were facing it together. The world exploded into chaos as their broadcast reached its audience. Rylan's quantum lab systems lit up with incoming responses from scientific institutions worldwide. Meanwhile, the directive ships intensified their attack, their quantum weapons creating distortions in the very fabric of reality around the building. They're trying to establish a quantum containment field, Nix said, her hands flying over the holographic controls. If they succeed, they'll be able to extract this entire section of space-time. Rylan watched as his fellow Earth scientists began confirming their findings in real time. Well, they're too late. The data's already out there. Look, quantum labs in Geneva, Tokyo, and Mumbai are already replicating our basic principles. A violent blast rocked the building. The cleaning equipment serving as their defensive shield sparkled with strain, its quantum harmonics struggling to maintain stability. The shields won't hold much longer, Nix warned, her skin pulsing with worried colors. Even with your quantum entanglement modifications? Wait, Rylan straightened suddenly. The entanglement modifications? Nix, what if we don't try to hold them back? What if we pull them in instead? Her silver eyes widened. You want to establish a quantum entanglement link with their ships? That's incredibly dangerous. The power requirements alone would be massive, he agreed, already making calculations. But your cleaning kit isn't just defensive equipment, is it? Those quantum harmonizers are meant to manipulate space-time at a fundamental level. If we combine that with my entanglement framework, we could create a cascading quantum resonance. Nix caught on, her star-filled hair swirling with excitement. Their own quantum weapons would become part of the entanglement matrix. They worked furiously, combining their technologies as the directive ships pressed their attack. Rylan's entanglement equations merged with Nix's quantum harmonics, creating something entirely new. The cleaning equipment hummed with increasing power, its true nature as advanced quantum technology fully revealed. There's just one problem, Nix said, pausing in her calculations. This level of quantum manipulation, someone needs to serve as a focal point, an organic mind to direct the resonance. I'll do it, Rylan volunteered immediately. No, her skin rippled with concern. My people are naturally quantum sensitive. It has to be me. But Rylan, she met his eyes. This kind of quantum connection, it changes people. If it works, the person I am now might not be the same after. Rylan took her hand, causing cascades of color to flow across her skin. Then I'll get to know the new you too. A blast breached their outer defenses, sending equipment crashing around them. Through the quantum interference, the directive's commander's voice boomed. Final warning, Dr. Void. Surrender now or we'll extract the entire facility. Nix squeezed Ryland's hand, then let go. Ready the entanglement matrix. I'll handle the quantum harmonics. She moved to the center of their improvised quantum array, her cleaning equipment arranged in a circle around her. And Ryland? Thank you for showing me that some boundaries are worth crossing. The air itself seemed to vibrate as they initiated their desperate plan. Nix began to glow, her natural quantum sensitivity amplified by their combined technology. The cleaning equipment, now revealed as powerful quantum manipulation devices, pulsed in sync with her consciousness. Ryland managed their systems, watching in awe as Nix became a conduit for pure quantum potential. Her consciousness reached out through their entanglement matrix, making contact with the directive's quantum weapons. The enemy ship's energy signatures began to fluctuate as their own quantum technology was turned back on them. Their quantum containment field is destabilizing, Ryland reported, monitoring the readings. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Through the quantum link, he felt an echo of Nix's experience, the vast cosmic dance of quantum possibilities, the interconnected consciousness of all things. Her cleaning equipment, designed to manipulate the quantum state of matter, was now helping her reshape reality itself. The directive ships began to lose cohesion as their quantum weapons fell into resonance with Nix's harmonics. Their attempts to extract the lab were turned back on themselves, their own quantum technology becoming part of the greater entanglement pattern. Impossible! The directive commander's voice distorted. How are you doing this with cleaning equipment? You never did understand. Nix's voice echoed with quantum harmonics. True power isn't about weapons or control. It's about connection, about understanding the quantum dance that links all consciousness. The enemy ship's quantum signatures began to fade as their weapons systems crashed, their advanced technology undone by the very principles they had tried to weaponize. Around the lab, messages continued to pour in from Earth's scientific community as they witnessed and documented everything. Finally, the attack ceased. The directive ships, their quantum technology in shambles, retreated to orbit. But Nix remained suspended in the quantum array, her form shifting between physical and quantum states. Nix. Ryland moved toward her glowing form. You can stop now, they're gone, so much. Her voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. I can see so much, Ryland. The quantum patterns of entire galaxies, the consciousness of countless beings all connected. Then share it with me, he said softly. Remember, we're in this together. Slowly, Nix's form began to stabilize. The quantum glow faded, though her skin retained a new iridescence. When she opened her eyes, they held depths of silver Ryland had never seen before. You're different, he observed, helping her stand as the quantum array powered down. I am. Her voice carried new harmonics. But my feelings for you remain unchanged. If anything, her skin rippled with colors he'd never seen before. They're clearer now, more certain. Before they could say more, Ryland's communication system chimed with priority messages. The world's scientific community was in an uproar over their broadcast. Their lives and the relationship between Earth and the greater galaxy would never be the same. Ready to face the changes we've started? Ryland asked, his hand finding hers. Nix's star-filled hair swirled contentedly. As long as we face them together. She glanced at her quantum harmonizers, still disguised as cleaning equipment. Though perhaps it's time to retire my cover as a cleaning professional. I don't know. Ryland grinned. You did an amazing job cleaning up that invasion. 6 months after the directive's attack, Ryland's lab had become the nexus of a new era in human-alien relations. The space was now filled with both Earth and Etherian technology, a physical representation of the bridges being built between their civilizations. Nix stood at the quantum interface, her enhanced consciousness allowing her to process multiple data streams simultaneously. Her skin shimmed with new patterns of iridescence, a permanent change from her quantum transformation. The tiny stars in her hair seemed brighter, more numerous, reflecting her expanded awareness of the universe's quantum nature. The quantum consciousness network is stabilizing, she reported, her voice carrying harmonic undertones that made the air vibrate slightly. 20 more research facilities have successfully linked to the protocol. Ryland looked up from his own work. still sometimes caught off guard by how beautiful she was, especially now that she no longer hid her true nature. Earth's quantum physics community is still buzzing about how you transformed cleaning equipment into quantum technology. Speaking of which, Nyx's skin rippled with amusement as she gestured to a corner of the lab where her original cleaning kit was displayed in a place of honor. The Smithsonian has asked again about adding it to their collection. The first alien technology publicly revealed to Earth, disguised as cleaning supplies. Rylan moved to stand beside her, watching the quantum network's data flow across their screen. Though I noticed the cleaning service is still using your modified equipment designs, well, they did help save the world. Her silver eyes sparkled, and they're excellent at removing quantum residue. Their playful moment was interrupted by a priority alert. A transmission was coming in from the Etherian Council, the governing body that had emerged after the Directive's defeat. The quantum consciousness network had changed everything, making it impossible for corrupt organizations like the Directive to operate in secret. When consciousness itself was quantumly linked, transparency became the natural state of civilization. Dr. Void, Dr. Nash, the council member's holographic form shimmered into view. We've reviewed your proposal for expanding the quantum network to include emotional empathic channels. Nyx's hand found Rylan's, their touch sending ripples of color across her skin. The council member pretended not to notice this display of interspecies affection, though their own skin showed traces of approval. Your work combining Earth's quantum entanglement principles with Etherian consciousness technology has exceeded all expectations, the council member continued. The network has already facilitated unprecedented cooperation between our people. Adding emotional understanding to the quantum link could revolutionize diplomatic relations throughout the galaxy. That's the hope, Rylan said. When you can literally feel what another species feels, it becomes much harder to maintain prejudice or hostility. Indeed, the council member's skin shifted to formal patterns. Your proposal is approved. Furthermore, the council wishes to officially recognize your partnership as the first sanctioned human Etherian scientific and, they paused diplomatically, personal collaboration. After the transmission ended, Nyx turned to Rylan, her star-filled hair swirling with emotion. Personal collaboration, she teased. Is that what we're calling this? Well, it started with you cleaning up my coffee spills, he reminded her, pulling her closer. Though I have to admit, my lab has never been cleaner since you stopped being my cleaning service. I do miss the excuse to visit every week. Her skin rippled with colors that Rylan had learned meant deep affection, though I suppose moving in together made that unnecessary. Through their nearby quantum interface, they could feel the endless potential of their work, consciousness and emotion flowing through the quantum network, bringing understanding between worlds. Earth was changing, growing, reaching out to the stars with new knowledge and purpose. And the Etherians were changing too, learning to trust, to share their gifts openly rather than hiding them. You know, Rylan said thoughtfully, we never did have that proper first date, the one that got interrupted by the Directive's invasion. Nyx's silver eyes gleamed. Are you asking me out, Dr. Nash? Even after I've seen every quantum particle of your being through our network? Especially after that, he grinned. Though this time, maybe we skip the coffee, just to be safe. We could try that new anti-gravity restaurant in orbit, she suggested. I hear they're the first Earth establishment to hire Etherian quantum chefs. Perfect. Rylan's hand traced the patterns of light flowing beneath her skin. Though fair warning, if anyone attacks us during dinner, I'm not as good at fighting them off without your cleaning equipment. Nyx laughed, the sound creating actual harmonics in the air around them. Don't worry, I kept some of the prototype quantum harmonizers. They're disguised as napkin holders now. As they prepared to leave the lab, Rylan glanced at the quantum network displays one last time. Streams of consciousness and emotion flowed between worlds, creating new connections, new understanding, new possibilities. All because a quantum physicist spilled coffee on his equations and an alien scientist chose to hide as a cleaning professional. Ready to see what other boundaries we can break? Nyx asked, her form shifting slightly between physical and quantum states, a reminder of how much they'd both changed and how much further they could go together. With you? Rylan took her hand, watching colors dance across her skin at his touch. I'm ready for anything, though maybe we should bring the quantum napkin holders, just in case. Their laughter echoed through the lab as they left, two beings from different worlds who had found each other across quantum space, proving that sometimes the most powerful forces in the universe weren't quantum mechanics or advanced technology, but the simple decision to trust, to connect, and to love beyond the boundaries of worlds.